Baseball, softball. Baseball went 2-2. I'm sure they're disappointed with that final game against Grand Canyon, huh?
Yeah, I think that's the one that you point to for sure. I mean, Irvine in the opener, I think Irvine's going to be a good team. It was their first game outside. You beat Vanderbilt on Saturday. That's going to be a highlight of the season. That's RPI gold. Comes as the team's mourning Greg Sharp. That was very emotional, and they pound San Diego State. But yeah, I think the Grand Canyon game for sure. I mean, they missed some chances early. The offense went dormant. Got a good start from Jackson Brockett, and they lost it late. So they're going to kick themselves over that one a little bit. But you head to Louisiana this weekend, and then you have another big chance after that. Still a lot of big non-conference games to right the ship a little bit. And we'll see what kind of team Grand Canyon ends up being. They could be okay. It's a road loss, which doesn't kill you that much, but no doubt they left some opportunity out there. What I thought, Sam, you mentioned the softball side as well. I went back and did some research. Do you know the last year Nebraska softball and baseball both made the NCAA tournament in the same year?
13.
16. They both made it in 16, but it's been a while. And even much longer than that, when you start talking about regional hosting and these kind of things, it's kind of interesting. I mean, those stadiums are right next to each other out there on Salt Creek, and it just seems like one team's been good or the other team has, and they haven't really aligned. My first impression from the last couple weeks was like maybe this could be a year when both those teams are rolling out there. I mean, what Jordy Ball's doing
Oh,
and
they're going to
that
roll.
team, they're
Yeah.
looking really good. And I
Yeah.
still think Nebraska baseball is going to be pushing for things that it hasn't done in a while too. So it could be a really fun spring into summer out there in a way that those two programs together haven't seen in a while.
Yeah, Nebraska softball is going to have a lot of success at home in particular. The schedule at home isn't real tough. They don't play UCLA in the regular season outside of this weekend, which doesn't count as a conference game. So they're not going to play them in Big Ten play, and they're not going to play Washington. It's like some of the teams they could play in Bolden are not coming. They could go undefeated at home. It won't surprise me if they do. This weekend, Nebraska plays Thursday. They play Baylor, then UCLA on Thursday night late. Then they play Duke on Friday, San Jose State, Howard, and then Utah at the Mary Nutter Collegiate Classic. Those first three teams are effectively ranked teams. So big ones. One of the challenges is, how much does Jordy Ball pitch? Like can they afford? Because here's how the schedule the way it lays out, Evan, is they play Baylor, UCLA, and Duke, and they play all of those teams, no lie, within the span of 24 hours. And so can Jordy Ball pitch two of them? Now, if she pitches two of them, is she pitching the UCLA game at 9:30 at night and then coming back the next day and pitching Duke, or is she pitching Baylor and Duke? You see what I mean?
Mhm.
And UCLA is the best one to win. They might be the best team in the country. They're ranked, I think, third right now, fourth, but they might be number one. Texas is really there's other teams that are good, but that'll be something to watch how they decide to pitch her and when and because the games that they're going into here, these are the kind of games that are 2-1, 3-2. You're not going to get a lot of hits. So, and then the back half of their schedule in Cathedral City, California, they should win them all. And so they have a little bit more flexibility with their pitching. But how they decide to deploy Jordy and her arm is going to be an ongoing story both this weekend and then next weekend. Next weekend, they play Oklahoma State and Missouri. Both of those teams are ranked, or both of them are very good. They play them in a schedule format that again they'll have to decide how if they decide to pitch Jordy Ball back to back. That'll be fun to watch. So, but that's where things are at, and that is our Pick Six podcast for this week. We will be back probably next week, maybe the week after. We're going to talk a little bit of state tournament stuff. I do want to talk a little bit about that, just potential prospects that are in the state tournaments around here. But then also just talk where Nebraska men's and women's basketball sits in the NCAA tournament. And we'll figure out some football topics to talk about. There's usually something happening in Husker football. For Evan, I'm Sam. Thanks for listening.